We are continuing the article, The Restless Mind by Ajayaprana Mataji from the book Vedanta in Practice. Today, the first one is think away depression. Yeah, some people cry saying the mind is restless. They become sorrowful and depressed. When I ask them why they are depressed, they say, I don't know, Mataji, I'm like that. I tell them, you are never like that. Do not submit to depression. Why should you? Pull yourself up. You've got a wonderful mind. Think. If you don't think, you will go into depression. Depression comes from self-pity. That's the important thing. Depression comes from self-pity. This mind is restless. That's a problem for everybody, not just one person. All over the world, everybody mind is restless. Very few people can say my mind is calm, concentrated. But most 99.9% of people, the mind is restless, scattered over many things. And for that, if you get depressed, you won't be able to do anything. And then you have to think, I got this mind, it's my mind. I can control it, I can catch hold of it, or I should catch hold of it and direct it the way that I want. That power we should use. We don't do that. That's the trouble. So we get depressed, self-pity. Oh, my mind is so restless. I'm like this, I'm like that. I can't do anything. All I. And one thing way is get out of that. Think about other people. That's one way of getting out of self-pity. Because we are thinking all the time about ourselves, concerned with just me, it comes self-pity. Think about others. If you consider, oh, you have got a lot of problems. Yes, everybody has got problem. But everybody don't go on complaining about their problem, advertising their problem. That's only difference. And of course, there's a difference in level of how much you can endure. That is there. But self-pity, there's no need to have self-pity. It's self-pity deals with depression. And we have got this wonderful idea that you are the self, infinite power is within us. And then still we feel depressed, feeling self-pity. That's not good. You should advise, Krishna says, Uddhared Atmanatman, raise yourself by yourself. Nobody can do that for you. Nobody can do that for us. We have to do it ourselves. Others can give suggestions, ideas, that's all. The real work is to be done by us.
There's time for question, answer, discussion. Anybody want to ask anything more about this slide? Yes.
GAYATRIPRANA, you say that self-pity is some of the causes of the depression. There's also, like I hear in the news and things, when people's hormonal levels change, and say when women enter menopausal stage, depression comes about in those sorts of situations. What do you attribute that sort of depression to? Is that still somewhat rooted in self-pity, or is it a physiological?
No, it's a physiological thing, but there is we can, to a certain extent, we can get out of that depression. See, in olden times, we were not focusing so much on these hormonal changes. People didn't have so much of depression. Now we are focusing everything, putting too much importance to things which doesn't deserve. Say like HSC examination, as though the whole world is going to collapse on them. They get upset, so stressed out. Just an examination. These hormonal changes, it's a change. It, of course, physiological problems will be, difficulties will be there, but that need not lead to depression. Society, everybody, the psychologists, the experts say, oh, this will lead, you will have depression. Oh, then I should have depression. Like being under the control of the stars. I am born under the stars, under this particular star. So I'll be like that. Maharaji used to make fun. People come to her, used to come and tell her, Maharaji, I am born under this star. So I'll be like that. So the star somewhere is controlling you. Hormonal changes are there, but that does not mean that you should give in to those depression. The self-pity is one of the reasons, not the only, that's the only reason.
And do you think that there's because there's great emphasis nowadays on the individual, the development of the individual, and because of those ramifications, we're also starting to become more self-indulgent in our thinking? Is that so?
And more self-centered also, more self-centered. Yeah. Don't want to think about anybody else, all about me. And everything should be for me. It won't happen. In the world, we have to adjust, give in, and share. That is how the society is meant to be. But if you go on being individualistic and self-centered, then you will have problems. Our outlook, our way of thinking should change.
And how do you shake yourself out of it? Like if I have a young, person who's saying he's depressed or she's depressed all the time, what sort of advice can I give them from my point of view?
First, ask them to find out what is causing the depression. By analyzing, thinking about, examine oneself. What is causing depression for me? Why am I depressed? So when did this wave of depression came over me? Is there any particular incident that caused it? Try to think about it and then try to find a solution after that. If something which you can change, try to change it.
One of the things causing depression, it's one of those great ironies that in major world cities like Sydney, there are a lot of lonely people, and loneliness harbors depression or can easily lead to depression. And so I'm wondering, people, it needn't be like that. They kind of fall into a pattern, I wonder, these people. There's so many things you can go out and do. There's so many things you can get involved with. So I find it hard to understand. There's to be kind of cruel, maybe it's kind of like they're lacking imagination, or they're lacking curiosity. There's something missing there. There's no reason actually to be lonely.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities for community work, getting involved with people, connecting with people. But then some people like to foster their loneliness, and then that leads to self-pity. I'm so lonely. I'm so lonely. This Friday discussion we had about the Gita, Sri Krishna says one of the qualities in virtues to cultivate knowledge is avoiding too much company of people and having a little bit of now and then going to solitude. So one of the people are saying, oh, then that led to discussion on alone and loneliness. And then one of them saying, I don't want to be alone, I don't want to be lonely. On and on is going on. So this, we can change ourselves only if we take the initiative. It's up to us.
No, again on Friday night, that slide on dealing with alone and loneliness. So I love the point they make where if you feel lonely, you can feel lonely in a crowd, and they were explaining that. Why is that? And it's because you're not in touch with the deeper part of yourself.
Yeah.
It's because you're operating on a very surface level. Your perception of yourself is that you're separate, that you're not, even though you may not be interacting with all those people around you, you are linked with them at a deeper level. So I think that's
That connection.
that's what we lack.
Yeah.
They don't feel that connection, and they're seeking the connection in a very external, gross way.
On the
And
surface
if they
level.
can't do that, then they feel like they're isolated.
Yeah. And this loneliness, I'm always seeking company from others. And they are not taking your company, you are rejected, you feel lonely. Whereas alone, it's my choice. I like to be alone. I don't want to, of course I like company, but sometime I want to be alone. So it's my choice, I'm rejecting others for the time being and being alone. So I'm not upset about that. Whereas lonely, I'm seeking other people company, trying to contact with them but we are not able to do that. If you think that we are all on a very deep level, if you think that we are all one, the same spirit is there, then we won't be feeling lonely at all. But most of us are moving on the surface level. Don't go deep. There comes the self-pity.
Isn't self-pity and going into depression and keeping away from everything is in a way like losing contact with the outside world? They should be aware that there are people who need help. You know, we try to go and help people, visiting old people in nursing homes, and lots of things to do. When you realize that there are people in a worse position than you, then you will realize that, no, I can't afford to be it. Arms, I've got legs, I can think. And there are people who have greater difficulty than me, then I should be out helping and not feeling self-pity for myself and indulge in this negative thinking.
See, that's the thing. Self-pity comes from concentrating on oneself. So think about others. The moment we turn the attention from ourselves to other people, then we will get out of it. We realize, as you say, there are our problems is nothing compared to other people's problem. They are much worse and in a much more difficult situations. And then when we go out helping in any way, we feel happy. And because we are getting out of that bubble of our myself, and which is going and developing self-pity, leading to depression.
Also, when you help people and you find that it really helps them, you are encouraged to do more.
Yes.
Because you feel useful. I think feeling useful is very important, because when you feel that you are helpful and that you can help somebody to be in a better position than you.
And nobody should need to feel I'm useless, because somebody or other in the world will be benefiting from you. So there is no need to feel, oh, nobody wants me, I am useless. If we are ready to give a helping hand in any way, physically, mentally, even just giving a patient listening. There are many people who don't have anybody to talk to. So somebody rings you, you have patient listening, that's a great help. So there is nobody who cannot help other people unless you are, mentally Alzheimer's or dementia. That's different. But physically or mentally fit, mentally fit, anybody can help. Sending your good thoughts, prayers.
Ajayaprana, from what you just described to Betty, I was trying to get a handle on self-pity. Could you describe it as a state where you're sort of on a negative holding pattern, you don't know how to progress because of a lack of knowledge to deal with the situation you're in? So if that seems to be the case, how would you move forward to get out of that self-pity?
There could be some cases where there's a lack of knowledge leads to how to get out it, or what else to do. But there are situations where you know what to do, but still I like to feed on my self-pity and feed on the idea that, oh, nobody wants me. I don't have anything. I can't do this. I can't do that. Just forcibly get out of that. And the more you keep on harping that negativity, it will increase. Because negativity, it feeds on itself. And it becomes greater and greater, and then you won't be able to get out of the depression without medication. In the early stages, you could, by your willpower, doing some going out and helping others, would get out. But if you continue with that, then you end up in a hospital.
All right, so we'll move on to the next slide, which I will read out. Yeah, we're going to be getting right into the self-pity thing here with this slide. Shaking off depression. Self-pity is our great enemy. Never give into it. It was Arjuna's self-pity that made him incapable of holding his bow to Gandivan. Sri Krishna had to rouse him. 3 million people had gathered on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Bhishma, Dharmaputra, and other great warriors were there. But Sri Krishna chose to give his message to Arjuna, the one who was capable of handling it. No one else would have been able to digest the deep and high teaching. Though Arjuna was in a state of depression, Sri Krishna knew that if he shook him a little, he would be able to handle it, contain it. The surprising thing in the whole episode is that Arjuna was depressed. He said that he had flu. He uses the word dwara, and the entire body was shaking. These are the signs when we get flu. Sri Krishna just listened to him. He did not pat him on his back, nor did he give him a lecture. Sri Krishna just used 2 words to shake off his depression: anaryam, ignoble, and akirtikaram, ill fame. He said to Arjuna that it did not befit him, who was an Arya, a noble-minded person. He added that it would bring him ill fame. Arjuna had 4 mighty brothers. Together, they were the essence of humanity. The 2 women in his life, Kunti, his mother, and Draupadi, his wife, were also great sources of strength. And yet, how could he behave in this manner was what Sri Krishna told him. Now, just shake off your depression and get up.
Arjuna's self-pity. Oh, I'm going to kill Bhishma, Drona, and all these people, all my relatives, my grandfather, Bhishma, uncles, cousins, and I'll be the cause. All, you see, everything is I. I'll be the cause of this destruction. I'll be the cause of all this destruction of the families, the family values. Everything will be destroyed because of me. And didn't he know all that? He was trying only for that moment of war all these years. The last moment he became depressed. And he was one, had never known defeat. Every battle that he waged, he won. And now he has If I'm wondering, how am I going to fight with Bhishma and Drona? Bhishma is my grandfather, Drona, the teacher, my teacher, I'm his favorite student. How am I going to fight with them? And all my cousins, my relatives. And after killing them, how can we enjoy the kingdom? All these arguments. All because I'm going to kill, I'm going to kill. How am I going to do? This delusion, self-pity coming. And of course, we get worried, we get anxious about things. And when it is excessive anxiety or worry, it leads to depression. Self-pity is one of the reasons, not the only reason for depression, but self-pity is one of them. And self-pity is not at all good. As Krishna says, you have to raise yourself out of that. And in the beginning, because Arjuna was so depressed, he threw away the bow and sat on the chariot. The warrior who is ready to fight, ready to shoot the arrow, standing. Now he threw away the bow and sat down, saying that I can't even hold my bow. My whole body is burning. So when it's too much, then you need injection. And Sri Krishna gave the injection using 2 words, ignoble and ill fame. You behave like this. It's not fit. It doesn't deserve you. The behavior does not befit you. You are a great noble person, and this ignoble behavior, saying that you won't fight. And imagine you are the great warrior, have never faced defeat, and you are saying you don't want to fight. You rather go away and live as a mendicant. And he says, better to eat the alms, live on alms as a mendicant. This is, the people will say, Arjuna the great, supposed to be the great hero, he ran away. He could not face the battle. It will ill fame. People will speak ill of you. What more great shame can be there other than this? So he uses just 2 words, ignoble and ill fame. And imagine your mother, the great heroine, Kunti, brought you up, and this is how you're behaving. Aren't you ashamed? That's how that's the meaning. Arjuna, when Krishna is using these 2 words, ignoble and ill fame. That's what's that? They're trying to tap the heroism, bring out the heroism from the person. Or soft words won't do. You need, as Sri Ramakrishna says, when in the modern time, when you got fever, old time Ayurvedic medicines won't do. Now he says, Digupta's medicine is needed, allopathy medicine. So Sri Krishna is giving that. He knows what's the suitable medicine. He gives the right medicine. And you're ashamed to behave like this? Get up. People, as I said earlier, this excess of anxiety and worry can cause depression. And people differ from their capacity to bear with anxiety and worry. We cannot have a standard measurement for everybody. Just like people's capacity to bear pain is different from person to person, how much you can bear with your anxiety, worry also changes from person to person. So each one should be taken care of separate or individually, not on a, this is standard for everybody, that won't do. We have to examine ourselves, think about the reason and analyze our behavior. How much is this going into too much? Then find out what is the remedy. As I said earlier, what is causing this self-pity? What is causing this depression? Try to get out of it. Instead of saying, oh, I'm so depressed, I'm so depressed, you go down and down, deeper and deeper into depression. We have got the power to get out of it. We have to use that. And so we have to say, I can. As Ajayaprana used to say, I can, I must, I will. As a determination, I will get out of it. Why should I go into depression? I will get out of it. I can get out of it. I will get out of it.
So any questions, discussion on this?
So, Mataji, like one thing, when the obviously depression source of negative thoughts, when the negative thoughts comes, and if we can just present that at the feet of Lord, like it will just go away straight away. I mean, this is what my experience, though any negative experience which comes, like it says, it's not my thought. I will just let it go and it is at the feet of God or something. I feel that it's straight away the effect of negative thoughts, it just goes
Yes,
away.
that's a good practice. Yeah.
So that in that way, depression will not come, obviously.
Depression, even if it comes, you'll be able to get out of it. And you will be able to get out of it, and slowly, you will gain more strength. So you will be able to block that negative feelings.
And that can be practiced anytime.
It can be practiced anytime, by anybody.
Gayatri I just wanted to ask you, in this particular case, Krishna was able to help Arjuna shake off his depression by helping him using words to inspire him in terms of being able to remind him of his duty and his dignity, and those words were able to uplift him enough in order to help him shake off his depression. But what other ways can it be done? The lady.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that also can be. There are so many paths. The ways are there. See, some people who are who've got faith in God, they can have this faith. So surrender to God, give it at the feet of God. And Arjuna at that time is too depressed. Soft words won't do to him. He needed at that time really a shock treatment. And then after that, when he was pulled out of depression, then he was able to, you can see in the second chapter, from verse 5, 6, Arjuna was able to put his case in a little more coherent way. Then he says, I'm really confused as to my duty, please tell me. And then Krishna gives the teaching. But first you have to get out of the depression. When you're too much into depression, then soft words and teachings won't go. There's a thick cloud of negativity is there. So somehow we have to pierce that negativity, that thick cloud. And for that you need strong medicine.
All right, so we may move on to the next slide now. The greatest teaching. In the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, in Sankhya Yoga, we see Sri Krishna giving Arjuna the greatest and the highest teaching about the Atman, soul. Sri Krishna tells Arjuna on the battlefield, you can neither kill them, nor will you be killed. In that depressed state, Arjuna was being given this teaching, knowing fully well that he had to be shaken a little, as a pall of despondency had covered his understanding. It had to be torn off. Arjuna was so powerful that any lower type of teaching would not do he had to be given the greatest teaching to grapple with, and he would only then accept the challenge, which he did.
If you look at the Gita, and Arjuna is telling, I can't fight. And after saying this first verse, second and third, where Krishna says, this is unmanliness, this behavior does not befit you. And then Arjuna says, please guide me. Arjuna, Shri Krishna is giving the highest teaching of the immortality of the soul, saying that you are the soul, you are not the body. The body goes through changes, and of childhood, youth, old age, death is just another change, and the soul does not die. It's just another changing. Just as we remove worn out clothes, throw away worn out clothes and put on new clothes, just like that, worn out bodies are thrown out and new bodies are taken. There is nothing to be worrying or grieving about. And you are not going to kill them. How can you kill? You can kill. Only the body can be killed. The soul cannot be killed. You cannot touch the soul. No, you cannot kill anybody. Nobody can kill you, because you are the eternal, the immortal Atman. Through our delusion, we think that we are going to kill another person. Somebody is going to kill me. No. It's only the body. How can we kill the person? This idea is there. Not all the mystics had this idea. When Socrates was given the poison, and then his disciples asked him, how do we, what do we do with your body afterwards? He said, first you have to catch me. How do we bury you, or what should we do? He said, first you have to catch me. How can you catch me? You get only the body, and do with the body whatever we do with the body. That idea was there everywhere, that you are not the body, you are that immortal self. The mystics had that idea. So Krishna is saying, you can neither kill them nor can they kill you. That's the highest teaching. And then after giving that, then he starts telling how to fight, how to perform the duty. Because Arjuna's duty is to fight at that time in the battlefield. How to perform your duty. Then second half of the second chapter, Shri Krishna start giving. Perform duty without attachment. But first, he gave the highest teaching. The Atman is immortal. You think, oh, you are going to kill all these kings, or they are going to kill you? No. Nobody can kill them, and nobody can kill you, because this is only bodies are there killed, not the Atman. Atman is immortal. It's ever existing. It is not born, not going to die. Anything that is born will be dead. Anything that is come into existence will cease to exist. But Atman is not like that. Atman did not come to exist on a particular day. It is always existing. It is existence. We call it Satchidananda, Sat Chit Ananda. Sat, existence. It's always there. So something which is always there, how can you destroy it? It cannot be destroyed. Weapons cannot destroy. Fire cannot burn. Water cannot wet. It is always there. You are that. That's the greatest teaching Krishna giving.
Yeah, any questions or comments?
You are very attached to the body and the world. That teaching would be very difficult to absorb. I mean, for the ordinary people, they might find the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita very difficult to comprehend even.
Yeah,
You got to have deeper belief. wouldn't you? If you just live an ordinary life, where you see people dying, being buried, you think that's the end of it. You don't even think deeper than that. So you got to be like people who have got deep interest in more than the superficial, to go deep into the teaching, and then can understand it. Otherwise, you can talk to certain people and they scoff at the idea. They think it's all in your mind, that it can't be true, and they ask you, are you going to prove it?
Yeah,
You got to have faith in something.
and they will say, well, I have seen many people dying, but
That's
I
it.
didn't see the soul.
That's right.
And the doctors have operated the body, nobody saw the soul.
Yeah.
They will say that. So for such people, this teaching will go later. This is the highest teaching. Arjuna was ready. For Arjuna needed the highest teaching to get him out of the depression. But for ordinary people, we start with whatever is suitable for us, whether it is the path of devotion or path of action. We start with that. See, like what she said, all the negative thoughts you surrender at the feet of God. Or go and help somebody doing selfless action. So that is the path for ordinary people. But here, Arjuna needed the highest teaching to get him out of the depression. And then Krishna gives other teaching. Just to get him out of that, to rouse him, he had to give that immortality of the soul.
In other words, you have to be prepared,
Yes.
You have to be prepared to accept deep teaching.
We
Otherwise,
won't understand.
you won't understand.
And again, you can see Krishna, there were the other four brothers were there. Bhishma was there, and all the other great men were there. But Shri Krishna gave the teaching to Arjuna. Why? Arjuna, look at the other four brothers. Bhima was there. Yudhishthira was there. Didn't give them. Bhima had more of animal propensity in him. He was more involved or liking to sense pleasures, eating and all the pleasures. So it is hard for him to understand this great teaching and or put into practice. And Yudhishthira, he is almost a yogi. There was no need for him to give the teaching. He's already established in yoga. So there is Arjuna was the right person. Not too much of attachment to the world, but has gone to the stage of calmness, the state of yoga, where the mind is steady and calm. So that's the right person to give. So we depending upon the need and the person, the teaching is given. And the need at that time, first, Arjuna has to get out of the depression. Only then we can make him see the path to duty.
So most of us are more like Arjuna, in other words.
But we have to get prepared for that. We are more like Arjuna, not too much involved with too much attached to the sense pleasures, and haven't reached the state of yoga. But then we have to have some basic qualities to understand the highest teaching.
So according to that quote there, does it essentially mean that a cure for depression is just be engaged in selfless action? Because you're thinking of yourself in whatever activities that you're engaged in, and it's a good way of moving forward if it's as a way of...
It is one of the ways. But if you're too much depressed, of course, we have to start with medication, because so many medications are available. Then once you get a little bit out of it, then use your strength, mental strength, willpower, and don't depend on the medication all the time. reduce the medicine and get the dose, and then work on yourself. Whatever is suitable for you, either selfless action, depending on working for others, giving your time and energy so that your attention will be moved away from you to other people.
And I also wanted to follow up that lady's comment before that you talked about, that she, was to surrender your whatever issues to the Lord's feet. Does that mean you say, "Oh, here's my problem, you look after it, I'll go on to something else," or is it something that means that? How do you approach that?
You can give your problems to God and ask for help, for guidance. Not that you give the problem and sit quietly. No. God has given you intelligence. So you ask for guidance. How do I deal with this? This is a really difficult problem. I can't find any solution. You please guide me. That's what Arjuna actually told Krishna. I'm really confused. I don't know what is the right course for me to take. Please guide me. The same thing we can tell God. This is a really difficult problem. I don't know which way to go. First you have to try yourself. You can't find, then surrender to God and ask for guidance. I'm sure when we really sincerely pray to God for guidance, you will get some guidance. From somewhere guidance will come.
So we'll go to the next slide now. The scientific method. Sri Krishna leads Arjuna step by step from the pinnacle of the highest philosophy to devotion in the 12th chapter. Sri Krishna skillfully manipulated Arjuna's thinking till all the knots are slowly removed, and then finally towards the end, Arjuna says, "I will do what you have asked me to do." But Sri Krishna said, leaving no trace of it untouched, entirely analyze, examine, study, and then do as you like. This is the scientific approach fit for today. The teaching which I like very much in the Bhagavad Gita, simply because a great teacher has said it, you don't have to believe it. Think well, then go ahead and act upon it. That is the scientific method. Sri Krishna is the true teacher. Hundreds of years ago, he showed us how to be scientific, so the teaching is relevant even today.
As I said, the highest teaching is given in the beginning of 2nd chapter, and then he starts giving how to perform action without attachment. That goes on 2nd chapter, 3rd chapter, 4th chapter, 5th chapter, and then 6th chapter, Shri Krishna is giving how to meditate, yoga of meditation. In between, Arjuna raises question. So step by step, he is leading. Like in the 3rd chapter, Shri Krishna, we can see when Krishna was telling Arjuna how to perform action without attachment, Arjuna raises the question. We see that sometimes people do evil deeds even though they don't want to, as though they are forced to. Why? Why do people do evil deeds as though forced by some force? What is that? So Krishna gives the answer. It is because of lust and anger forced by the power of rajas. Then he goes on how to deal with it. And then 4th chapter, so again this we can see Arjuna putting question. Because Krishna said, I gave this is not a new teaching. I had given it ages ago to Vivaswan, and he gave to this, they give a list. Then Arjuna got this out. But you were born the other day, because there is not much age difference between Arjuna and Krishna. Now, how can you say you gave this teaching long ago? Krishna says, both of us are born so many times. You don't remember, I remember all my previous birth. That's all. It goes on like that, step by step. And then after that, from chapter 7 to the idea of yoga of action, he is introducing devotion. Again, how to worship God. In the 9th chapter, we see detailed way. The Lord does not want elaborate rituals, so many items of worship. He wants true devotion. Then he says, if you offer me a leaf, water, a flower, with devotion, that's the important thing, with devotion, that loving, devoted offering, I will accept. We think that if you give a lot of precious things, God will be happy. You see many of the temples in India, people will be offering gold and precious stones, precious things to fulfill their desire, worldly desire. Or sometimes people earn money by false means, and then they think that if you give part of it to God, then all the negativity is cancelled. No, it doesn't happen. That they are self-deluding themselves. God accepts the pure devotion, pure offering. It need not be not a great thing, but what you give with love, that's the most important thing. In the Bible, you can see, Jesus is standing in the synagogue, and a poor lady came, a widow, and she put 2 coins in the offering box. And then a rich man came and put a lot of gold coins in there. And then Jesus observed both, and then he tells his disciple, look, the lady, the widow offered, put 2 coins. In God's eyes, they are more valuable than all the gold that the precious things that the other man gave. Because these 2 coins are more than she can afford. She is denying something and giving, denying her food or some comfort to give these 2 coins. Whereas that man, he gave only what he can extra, a part of what is extra, what he can afford to give. So God looks at with how much love you have given. He put inside from chapter 7 to chapter 12, Sri Krishna introduces the idea of devotion to God. And then the last 6 chapters, he is bringing in knowledge. Of course, 18 chapters is a recapitulation of all these things, teachings. And in the end, he says, now think about all these things and do what you think best. And Arjuna says, I will do what you have said. But before that, Krishna gives him freedom. Don't do because I asked you. Think about it, reason about it, look at all from all angles, and do what you think best. Vimrishetat asheshena yatheshasi tadha guru. Think completely, analyze. Asheshena, completely, from all standpoint. Then do what you think. Yatheshasi tadha guru. What you want to do, you do. It's your responsibility. You have to take responsibility for your action. Don't say, oh, Krishna asked me to do this, so I did. Actually, I didn't want to do this, but Krishna asked me to do it, so I did. No, don't say that. Do it what you think properly and do what you want to do. And Arjuna said, Karishye vatanam, I will do what you have asked me. He thought about it and said, no, this is the right thing to do. That is don't follow just because somebody said. Buddha says the same thing. Just because Buddha said, don't do that, don't follow. Think of yourself. Just because the teacher said a sacred book says, no. Think and then do. If you analyze, is it going to lead me to the right path? Going to give me more peace? Take me on the higher way. Think about it and do. Even on ordinary things, ordinary day-to-day actions. We have got the capacity to think and do. Just because all your friends said, you will just follow like a sheep. Then you are no better than a sheep. We have got the thinking capacity to do it. And we should be, if you find what your friends are telling is not correct, or what they are following is not the right path, you should be bold enough to stand. You should have the strength to stand against the current.
Yeah, what always attracted me to Vedanta was with this scientific approach that you didn't have to believe. I had an aversion when it came to religion growing up, this emphasis in Sunday school where you had to believe.
Yeah, don't
I
question.
never liked that.
Yeah.
And I chose not to believe, actually. And so meditation, yoga, you could gradually experience for yourself, at least to some extent, get an
Yes.
inkling of what more is there within you.
And question and find out. Question yourself, question the teacher. Sri Ramakrishna says, test me like a money changer, test the coin. Don't accept just because I said. And you can see Narendra test. Sri Ramakrishna used to say that he could not touch metal. If he touches metal, because he has given up everything. He sat on the bank of the Ganges saying, and had some clay in his one hand, mud, and in the other hand a coin, and then said rupee, clay, and threw both into the Ganges. Both are no difference, whether it is coin, money, or clay, both are not going to lead you to God. It was his idea. He was doing everything to the extreme. Then, so he used to say, sometimes he passed through different stages. At one stage, he could not touch metal. He could not take a metal pot, a metal glass. He used to get physical pain. Well, the young disciples have started coming at that time. And one day he was telling them, I cannot touch metal. If I touch metal, as though it hurts as though stung by a scorpion. Narendra, the skeptic, just too much to believe. It's exaggeration. So one day when Sri Ramakrishna was not in the room, Narendra put a coin under his mattress. And after some time, and then he went outside the room, and from walking on the veranda and talking to some other people who are sitting there on the veranda. And after some time, Sri Ramakrishna came back and went to sit on his mattress. In those who have gone to the room that Sri Ramakrishna used, there is a big bed where he used to sleep, and a small bed which he used to use as his seat. So he went to sit there. He sat there and jumped up, as though he's getting got pain, something pricking him. So his attendants looked. What is look? He removed the bed sheet, nothing. Pillow, nothing. Then lifted the mattress, and there was a coin. And Narendra was watching from outside through the window and the door. Because he was walking, he could see what's happening inside. And Sri Ramakrishna saw Narendra. Then he understood who has put the coin there. Test. Then he was happy that you test and then believe. Not just because he said that he could not touch metal. Don't believe. Test him. Another disciple went one step further. Sri Ramakrishna was married, but he had no physical relation with his wife, Holy Mother, because he looked upon all women as the Divine Mother. Now, one young disciple, Yogin by name, who later became Swami Yogananda, was one day at night sleeping in his room. He was sleeping on the floor. At night, late at night, he suddenly woke up, looked around, No, Sri Ramakrishna is not there. He's not on his bed. But maybe he must have gone to outside walking. He went out in the garden. No. Suddenly a doubt came in his mind. Has he gone to the room where Holy Mother is? So he is saying something and doing something else. See, doubt is a very, very terrible thing. Now, so what did he do? He stood in on the side, watching the door of the room where Holy Mother stayed, so that if anybody comes out of the room, he can see that. After some time, he heard the footsteps coming from the side of the Panchavati. And Sri Ramakrishna came up to him from the Panchavati and asked him, why are you standing here? The young disciple hung his head in shame. He could not utter a word. Sri Ramakrishna understood the situation. He said, yes, you did the right thing. You should test a holy man by day, by night. Only then you believe. That is the same teaching as Sri Krishna says. Test, test, test. Don't just because somebody said, don't believe. Don't just because I say I'm such and such I'm doing like this, don't believe. Test. Find out. Then believe. That is a scientific approach. That is why we find Sri Ramakrishna's teaching, which Swami Vivekananda spread all over the world, so appealing. Because it stands to reason.
A comment from Vin. Just get this. Some thoughts and feedback. It seems like Arjuna's reciprocity and openness to Krishna's teachings was a product of his depression and vulnerability, and perhaps not necessarily due to his character, accomplishments, knowledge, etc. It seems almost as though Krishna could see that Arjuna's ego was diminished or low in intensity, and that he, Arjuna, was genuinely, authentically seeking guidance as help. Krishna perhaps sees this reduction in Arjuna's ego, and therefore perhaps see that he is finally suitable and receptive for these teachings. So then perhaps our depression, albeit caused in some sense by our ego, can either exacerbate our ego further, self-perpetuating our suffering and depression, or it may be an opportunity when our ego... Oh, sorry, I've lost my... Perhaps our depression, albeit caused in some sense by our ego, can either exacerbate our ego further, self-perpetuating our suffering and depression, or it may be an opportunity when our ego is quite low and we are quite open and vulnerable. It seems as though when we are at our lowest, then our ego, sense of self, importance may finally be at our lowest. Therefore, we will actually absorb these teachings. Gosh, Ben. As we said recently, it is very hard to teach when they already know, or it is hard to listen when you already know better. Arjuna, living the normal life of a warrior, perhaps had normal sense of pride and ego, and therefore was not ready at these times previously. When our pride is high, or sense of self is high, or self-importance is high, these teachings will not be absorbed, just as water does not settle, so on and so on. Therefore, our depression could be a perfect vehicle and a great opportunity for learning. Yeah, I'm going to just keep, as some say, suffering could be our great teacher. Yeah, wow, Vin, okay.
Yeah, suffering and setbacks are great teachers if we can make use of it the right way.
All right.
Go to the last one.
Yeah, thanks for that, Vin. That was very insightful. Thank you. Now, the real work. For all our problems, the whole world can only give us suggestions. The real work we have to do in the laboratory of our mind. To quote a few lines from Shakespeare's great tragedy, Macbeth. Lady Macbeth had killed the king, and it weighed heavily upon her heart. The doctor reported to Macbeth that his wife had no physical illness, but to quote Shakespeare, she is troubled by fit-coming fancies that keep her from her rest. Macbeth realized that all these fancies are coming because of the misdeed, and they were not just her fancy. He knew they were real. So Macbeth then tells the doctor, cure her of that. Canst thou not minister to a mind diseased? Pluck from the memory a rooted sorrow, raise out the written troubles of the brain, and with some sweet oblivious antidote, cleanse the stuffed bosom of that perilous stuff which weighs upon the heart. To this the doctor very quietly replies, therein the patient must minister to himself, or to herself in this case.
So others can give only suggestions, ideas, guidance, but the work has to be done by us. It's always, that's why Krishna says, Uddhare Atmanatam, raise yourself by yourself. Nobody can do that for us. When you are sick, you have to take the medicine. Somebody else taking the medicine won't do. When when we had the Ayurvedic medicine, some of them are very bitter. Nobody wants to, children especially don't want to take the medicine. But has to be taken. The medicine has to be taken by the patient. Somebody else taking the medicine won't do. The child may say, you drink the medicine to mother. That's not going to cure the child. The work we have to do the work. The actual we have to do. Nobody else can do that for us. Trying to control the mind, trying to get out of depression, trying to get out of self-pity, all these things we have to work on ourselves. Nobody else can do. That's the thing. They can only do this is the things to do. They can tell us, but the actual work we have to do ourselves.
Any further questions, discussion? Okay, so we will include there some announcements, and there'll be a guided meditation. Well, it won't be a yoga class, it's coming Thursday, but next Friday night we have the spiritual evening discussion led by GAYATRIPRANA. Next Sunday, GAYATRIPRANA will be giving the talk on Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. That's going to be the final Sunday talk for this year. The following Sunday, 1st of December, we'll enter into our summer recess program, and so you're most welcome to come from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. here. The nuns will be here. There'll be some inspirational readings and some meditation. So you're most welcome. That'll continue through the whole recess. And of course, we've got special events coming up. Holy Mother's birthday, Christmas Eve celebration, Swami Vivekananda's birthday. So during December and January, Kalpataru Day on the 1st of January. So we'll be keeping you informed about all of those. All of those will be coming up. And the Friday night discussions there'll still be a couple more of those before we enter the recess. So now we'll conclude with a guided meditation, which I'll be conducting.